before going live, okay, don't look weird, don't look weird,
Huh?
don't look weird.
That's what you think?
Yes.
That's already a given. I don't think that's gonna be a problem. There we go. Cool. Well, welcome back to the shop.
Thank you. Thank
you
you.
you are one of my favorite faces to see around the shop
Mm.
and like on the channel and stuff like that. And it's been a trip because as you know, this podcast is about the community.
Mm.
And I met you in a very in a very like special way. Like I didn't meet you in person. It's very
No.
very pandemic, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
And it's been really cool getting to know you, like going from virtual to
Mm.
reality,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And it's funny because like if you really think about it, a lot of people I have on this podcast are people that I do already know, but don't know that much,
Mm.
right? So it's kind
Yeah.
of an opportunity for me and everybody else to get to know you and me, I guess. But like,
Yeah.
if you watched, then you already know some stuff about me. So please, I mean, uh, I t- I want to ask you just some like regular things about yourself because like our relationship is very like uh is it's kind of just like, oh, like we are really for each other, but we're also like almost just like acquaintances on that level because I don't know that
Um.
much about you,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
I know you're a maker,
Mhm.
obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's that part too. I did commission some earrings
Mhm.
for Jen, and she really liked them, and they're super dope,
Yeah.
obviously. And I appreciate that.
That was fun to make.
Really,
Yeah.
you liked it?
Yeah. It was.
Those are cool. They're like one of one, like
Yes.
lotus earrings.
One of a kind.
Yeah, one of one for sure. But yeah, maybe I mean, could you tell me like what your perspective was, like, like how you met me, and like how like what you went through. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
how that was for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow, it's almost like full circle.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
um, I distinctly remember, um, well, I follow Astrologic. Yay, shout out Astrologic.
Let's go.
Um, and so they posted that they were going to be on a Community Saturday. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I get to support, favorite band. Um, and so, yeah, I showed up on Twitch chat, in the chat, just watching y'all eat snacks
Uh huh.
and stuff. I'm like, ooh, wait, they're trying new snacks, and I love snacks. Um, and yeah, y'all were eating like unique Asian snacks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, I want to try that. I want to try that. And then it went to, like, oh, where are they located? And Googling and what they're here. They're here in Oakland, so local. So that's how I started following, your channel, and started looking up all the different yummy snacks available.
Yo, that's so dope. It was, okay, so you actually got connected to us through Astrologic, so
Yes.
Chen and Chirito.
Mm-hmm.
And like how did you know Astrologic?
Um, totally, yeah, just fan following. Um, I was, it was my first event that I vended at. It was an Earth Day event in San Jose. They were performing, but I didn't. When I saw them walk through the door, I didn't know who they were. But just their presence alone and their energy, I was like, "Who are these two? Who are these two beings?" Um, and it was Charito who came to my. She went straight to my table, and she picked up one of my bracelets, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
That's
who
amazing.
are you?"
That's so dope. You're so right about that too. They do have a presence, right? And a
Mm-hmm.
calmness and a
Yes.
peace, right? and their vibe is just so healing.
It is.
Whether they talk to you or not,
Yes.
you could just be standing next to them and feel the healing.
Yes.
And it's been and since I've known them, and actually Jen knew them first,
Mm.
and we went to go see them. I think at what was it called? The Filipino theater in San Francisco,
Bindle Stiff.
Yeah, Bindle
Mhm.
Stiff. I'm not wrong saying it's a Filipino theater, right?
Right. Correct.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because y'all are up in there. But yeah, I met them there, and just like it's doesn't matter. That's how you know it's authentic, because it doesn't matter what situation you're in. I had the same feeling,
Mhm.
same.
Yeah.
Barely meeting them, and they were so welcoming and so just full of like life.
Yes.
So that's super amazing to me that we all met through the like it was through like interest, like common interest,
Mhm.
like through a little bit of fandom, and then also like just the things that we kind of just do normally in our lives, right? So
Yeah.
I think we would have met no matter what, right? If we were just
Mhm.
as long as we're doing our stuff, we would cross paths, because then like also you were vending,
Yes.
and then we do pop-ups here. Jen also has done a lot of pop-ups beforehand, and we're already in the same community. So
Yeah.
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 Yo, Yijor. What's up, man?
Hi.
Yo. And yeah, Jordan has been a big part of I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know this. It was like real obvious before during shelter in place, but Jordan has been a big part of the of our community and our like Twitch movement and stuff like that.
Mhm.
The DJ Twitch movement specifically. You know, he did a lot of design work at that time, and did a lot of uh connecting actually.
Mm.
So I really appreciate what Jordan's done. Just in every way. The dude is solid, dude.
Yes.
Like so solid in so many ways. A man of character and morals. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And yeah, he sticks to his shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's it. Kind of like warms my heart, because, like you said, it's full circle.
Uh huh.
You know, that's dope. So, okay, let me ask you some more questions.
Yes.
Okay, because one of the best things about coming on this podcast is we get to actually have one-on-one time,
Mhm.
and I'm so much better one-on-one than I am in groups.
Ah.
Like,
Me
are
too.
you are too?
Yeah.
Can you explain to me why that's the case, and I'll explain to you why it's the case for me too. Do you know why? For me, well, okay, I'm
Oh,
seeing
go
you.
ahead. Start.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
all
seeing
like,
you
I'm
thinking a little bit.
thinking.
Yeah, the eye went up and to the right. I was like, oh, okay. No, so I'll go first.
Thanks.
But the reason why I'm better one on one is because there's so much stimuli when
Yes.
there's so many people.
Yes.
And so I think that I already feel like a common energy with you just sitting next to you, like, because I can tell that you're a very considerate person, and I can tell that you have like a really big heart
Mm.
just by the way the look in your eyes. You know what I mean? Just like little things. Like it seems like you're a very big-hearted person. So and in that way, when people are big-hearted, they're really considerate, they're always like looking at other people to see like, oh, especially through our Asian cultures, we're like very what do you say, I hate to use the word, but accommodating at times,
Mm-hmm.
right? Can
Yeah.
be, it's all through our culture. Hey Dre, you looking for something? Oh, okay, thank you. Let's hang out soon. Okay, bye. Um, but yeah, like it's just so hard sometimes, especially I don't know if you're this type, but I read a lot of micro expressions,
Mm.
and I read a lot of social cues, and I read a lot of this, and I think that's for me has been part of my way to relate with people, right? It kind of like makes me feel very heavily on the spectrum, but I'm not like in that way. You
Mm-hmm.
feel me?
Yes.
But it makes me feel that way. Like, I mean, do you also like read people like that?
Similarly. Yes.
Similarly, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely like big groups, even small groups. I feel like there's a lot of energy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, And I could only focus one at a time because trying to focus on an entire group, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot to handle. And I also noticed like when shelter in place happened, it felt good to me. I was actually like, yes, I get to stay home. You know, I don't have to interact with people. Dope.
Ah,
So I was like excited. I was actually excited to stay
yo.
in place. But then I also noticed that that amplified that, I don't know, it just made my tendencies even more so, like now with like groups and everything like that, I'm even more like,
I
ah,
see.
this is a lot.
Yeah, because it sounds like being at home with yourself is more of your comfort zone.
Yes.
So would you say introverted?
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Oh yeah, I identify as introvert very much.
Just in the past year, I learned the term ambivert.
Oh, what's that?
That's both. So you kind of
Oh,
swing. So
okay.
I am definitely an ambivert. So it just basically it like relies on how I'm feeling at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like both have such a great boon for you in social situations, right? So if you're feeling introverted, you can feel good about like when you're by yourself, when you're doing your own stuff, when you're owning your own space.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I feel introverts cower away from big energy, but I think that it doesn't always have to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you can just because everything depends on how you think about it, right? Your
Yeah.
perspective makes a huge
Oh
difference,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially for yourself. So when you're like retreating or whatever, you can just be reserving your energy, right? I often think about it like either like, oh, this is too much for me, or I'm actually just gonna like I'm gonna chill,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it really helps me to think about it in that second way rather than the other way, because then I start getting used to like I'm going back to the whole like people pleasing thing and da 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 da, and
Mm-hmm.
now I'm making myself small for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then when on the flip side, when I'm ambi extrovert, right? Then I'm drinking in this energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I know that when it gets to a certain point, I start mouthing off. So that you know what I mean? Like it's a gift and a curse, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Both ways. So like on that side, I can either be, you know, exiting, escaping,
Right.
or I can be reserving. And then on
Mm-hmm.
the extroverted side, I can be absorbing or I can just be vomiting. So those are the many reflections of that. But yeah, are you okay? Sorry, do you do making full time or
Oh
do you
no.
do other stuff too? Right?
I do other stuff too.
Yeah.
By the way, hi Jen.
Hey,
Hi.
babe.
um so what pays my bills is I am a program assistant. Oh, full title, senior program assistant. I
Let's
shouldn't I
go.
shouldn't drop the senior.
No, it means a
I
lot.
just feel like it's easier to say program assistant, but I shouldn't. Senior program assistant. Yes. For a nonprofit. Um so I do that full time, and then when I get home, even though I work remotely, when I get home, turn off the computer. then then I'm into my making mode, my sparkle, my bubble mode.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's dope.
Yeah.
How long have you been making and how long have you been part of the nonprofit?
Ooh, okay. Making longer
Yeah.
than nonprofit world. Um, I still think it started in 7th grade. Um,
Amazing.
that's where I remember doing jewelry making in a summer program, and I liked it. Um, and it started from there. Um, and then nonprofit was, wow, since college.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So it's no wonder you've reached this position because,
Mhm.
I agree. I don't think you should drop the senior part either because the senior part is I wouldn't see it as you like showing off or whatever or like, you know what I mean, trying to seem like whatever.
Yeah.
it's not about status.
Mm-mm.
It's about the position that you've earned,
Yes.
right? With your energy and your time and your dedication. And
Mm-hmm.
so I, from my perspective, think that you deserve that title, right?
Thank you.
And you
Yes.
shouldn't take it away from yourself because
Mm-hmm.
you deserve that status
Mm-hmm.
because you worked for it. This
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sensing any any like crazy nepotism here. You know what I mean? Right?
Right.
Or at
And
least I don't know.
and I catch myself because it's like, why am I dropping it to accommodate the conversation or just making it go faster? That's
Yeah.
what I find myself doing, and it's like I shouldn't. Yeah, I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. More power to it. And so since I've got you in the whole making thing, like I always try to pull these conversations towards like art and maybe a little bit of philosophy and stuff because I'm an artist,
Yeah.
right? And that's what burns my brain in a good way, right? It
Uh-huh.
sets me on fire. So you've been making since like you were 7, right?
Oh, seventh grade.
7th grade, sorry.
Yeah.
7th grade. um but that's so dope. And what do you think, if anything, what has making taught you? Have you learned
Oh
any like
wow.
lessons from like diving into that or facing those kinds of hardships or just being creative in general?
Like, oh, so many thoughts.
Yeah.
First, it has, well, like nowadays, it has taught me, um, that it's a possibility that I could make a living out of it. So there's job opportunity. Um, it has also taught me that, for myself, it's a way for me to ground myself. Um, I've also noticed it's a way for me to connect with people, even though, um, I steer away from crowds and whatnot. But it's my way, how I find comfortable for me to connect with others.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so amazing. Oftentimes I find that art, like in general, people look at art and they think, oh, it's very structureless,
Mm.
right? But that's not true. I mean, like it
Mhm.
can be,
Mhm.
but you need structure. You need to kind of build your own structure for it to be successful,
Mhm.
right? In a
Yeah.
way, that's just kind of how things are, like the human race and whatnot. But I think that at the same time, art is such a great outlet because it's one of those things that you just do your own way.
Yes.
And there's nobody controlling you. There's nobody telling you like what you can and can't do or how to act, or there's like, no company guidelines,
Mhm.
right? So I think in a way I think that people who are in the arts like majorly, they just want to do stuff their own way like all the time. Like for me, a major theme in my life is freedom,
Mm.
right? And even when I just say that word, it makes me happier.
Yeah.
Just the idea of it. How do you feel about your freedom in your life?
Um. It's it's how do I say this? Because you know how you said some people think it's structureless.
Uh-huh.
For me, I like structure.
Mhm.
Even though I'm an artist, I like structure.
Mhm.
And what I what I like about being a maker and a creative, um, I have the freedom to find my own structure. Find what works for me.
Mhm.
And it's such a learning process. Like I could be doing something one way all these years, and then find out, oh, it's easier if I just do it this way. And,
Yo.
and then and then the freedom of it is like there's no one telling me, well, no, you can't do it that way. You have to do it this way.
Right.
It's like, oh, I can just freely do what what I find is more efficient, what I find is more freeing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that today in modern times, like society likes, we've always liked to label everything. And I think when you get to find things out your own way without people just passing all this judgment and
Yeah.
the internet showing you like what's good
Mhm.
or like what's right or anything like that, it's different. We start losing labels and just start going into like, oh well, that's just how they are.
Mhm.
That's just them.
Yeah.
right? Not to make excuses for bad behavior, but like, like when if you're quirky, you're quirky. You
Mhm.
don't have to label it. You don't have to be like, oh, well, they have ADHD, and so blah 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 blah, or
Right.
you know, oh, neurodivergent or something like that. Who cares,
Yeah.
right? It honestly, I feel like those labels are important when you're having problems and you're seeking help clinically,
Clinically.
and they yeah and they can help diagnose, they can help find like symptoms, they can help this and that and treat and help treat things. But then when we're diagnosing each other, it's, I mean, that's not your profession, right?
Right.
You can't just be diagnosed, you know. And then and then
Yeah.
and then your mind gets coded with this label,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden you're seeing people differently.
Mhm.
So I like I said last night, we had this private party. It was a birthday and stuff like that, and I was playing a little game. I was like, everybody's all dressed up and whatnot. I know nothing about any of these people.
Mhm.
Like, what I want, I and then I just let myself look around the room. And then I was like, what is my brain doing? Like, how am I identifying these people?
Mm.
Right? How am I seeing them based off of how they're dressed, based off of how they're acting, based off of, like, all that stuff. I know nothing about them.
Mhm.
So it's a good, especially as a shop owner, it's kind of a good practice to maybe do that every once in a while. So you're not out here just like, they didn't put that thing back, or like they put their can on my display, like, so rude. Da, 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 da. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, they're drunk, and you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you just went through yesterday. Maybe this is your release for the year,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, and stuff like that. So do you? I mean, does that provoke anything in you when I'm saying, like, talking about labels? I'm talking about like how um we kind of just like we just do that on a daily basis.
Oh yeah.
It's so easy
Oh yeah.
just to like judge somebody.
Oh, I do that a lot with reality TV.
Yeah. I think that's what it's there for, right?
I'm like, oh, oh, I wouldn't do that.
Yo, reality TV is a trip. Oh my god. What have you been watching?
Oh, Love is Blind.
Yeah, okay. Okay. No,
That was the latest one.
I still think that the Japan one is the best one,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, because
So
they have a totally different vibe,
Yeah.
and I like it. It's so refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my vibe. The Love is Blind Japan Terrace House,
Yes.
like,
Terrace House.
there's something about that world that I want to bring into my life. They all just
Mhm.
talk to each other so calmly.
They do.
And they work out their problems,
They
and they're very
do.
upfront with like the expectations of each other.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Could we all just be like that, where
Yeah.
we're just like, just I can just tell you what's on my mind,
Yes.
and you don't think I'm a jerk just because I'm not like agreeing with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it's not all about sex.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like with all the American reality shows, it's all about, ooh, I would do her, or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
actually. And in general, I
Yes.
think, like, if there's anything I've learned from like working through all of my own stuff, not, I mean, like, as if I've worked through it all, but working through my stuff, I've realized that the relationship between like men and women, right, has
Mhm.
become a little bit more, how you say, transparent to me, right?
Mhm.
In the way where a lot of society just like literally just sexualizes women, period,
Mhm.
and then that just becomes like the main thing.
Mhm.
Like, literally.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know, and as somebody who has gained a status and gained a position, do you feel like that's still in play even at your workspace, or I would hope
Mm.
not.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think it is. Just because with the um,
They got like guidelines and stuff.
well, I was gonna say the
HR.
well, yeah. But the nature of the work that I'm in, it's mostly women.
Uh-huh.
In our workplace. Not saying that I'm not gonna anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
But I mean it because it's the nature of the organization. It's not that. It's mostly social work and
Okay.
definitely yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
that's good.
totally different.
Yeah, totally different. Okay,
Different.
it's not a environment for that to be a
No.
problem,
No.
which is great.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So good. Okay.
So
Safe.
safe. Safe.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like when I talk about, like, let's say, like, men and women, and like toxic masculinity is such like a huge topic on this show specifically,
Mm.
because it's been a huge part of my life. And last time I had Hannah Chen on here,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like at least one generation after me. I think one or two.
Mm.
And I got to ask her about, like, the role that toxic masculinity had played in her life, and especially how she sees it, because we are from two different generations and we experienced it in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So for her, when she was describing it to me, like, obviously there was the inclusion of talking about men and women, right? For
Okay.
her, I'm pretty sure she's straight. I don't want to 100%, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the impression I got. But uh, but when she talked about men and women, she didn't actually make that like the main focus. It was more about the inequality, right? And for my
Mm-hmm.
generation, it's actually more about the sexes, right? Toxic masculinity, like dealing with like women, dealing with like men, not just kind of being self-centered in a way uh where I feel like women are not included in the equation sometimes. You feel me? It's just
Mm.
like how you perceive the world, and how the system has kind of like treated men and women very, very, very differently.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. I mean, like, has it really played a big part in, I'm sure, right? Has it played a big part in your life? Has it even been like a theme in your life? Or have you been able to carve out a path for yourself where you can kind of navigate and like not and be in a better place, like for example, like the nonprofit?
Mm-hmm. I believe, well, through, yeah, education and all of that, I was able to navigate.
Mhm.
Um, but for it growing up, it was more about the expectation as a woman.
Mhm.
Like, oh, you need to act this way. You need to dress this way.
Mm.
You don't want to welcome unwanted attention,
Mhm.
or you don't want to appear, you know, this way or that way. So it was more like that, about presentation and how to behave.
Ah,
Um,
interesting. Of how to behave.
how to behave, and that was coming from. So I grew up in mostly a single parent home. It was my mom who raised me.
Me too.
She's wonderful. She's great. And raised me to be the strong woman I am. But as a single parent, I feel like she was trying to protect me from all of that. Okay, you need to be careful out there. You know, men aren't that. They may have not the best
Right.
intentions. Um, and so I believe it was out of protection. You know, but at the same time, it's like it was very. Also, it felt confined and
Right, right. Like you had to play a
had
role.
to play a role and and I am the oldest of three. So, you set an example for your younger siblings and, you know,
Yeah. Oh,
so
you're the oldest.
I'm
Okay.
the oldest.
Right. So
So,
you have it the hardest, is
yeah.
what really what I gather. I'm an
Yeah.
only child. So so I'm just like, hey, I'm the kid, right? So I never really
Yeah.
had to deal with much of the rivalry or the hierarchy or
Mhm.
that kind of dynamic. It was
Yeah.
just my mom and me
Mhm.
for the longest time. Um, but yeah, I think talking about roles, it's it's crazy. Like, can I ask you like a really hot question? Like, you don't even have to answer. You can divert it or whatever. Right?
Okay.
This is just like me. Okay. Do you feel like the roles of men and women are definite at all within our society, or do you feel like men and women at this point are just like, we're just like do whatever we want?
Hmm.
It's a difficult question.
It
I'm
is.
not baiting you into anything, because it feels like, you know what I mean. It
Yeah.
feels like a hot, right. Like, we should be careful with it, right? But I've been lately consuming a lot of content on men and women.
Mhm.
You know, um, being I'm a straight hetero male and all that stuff. Just cisgendered male.
Mhm.
And that stuff is so fascinating to me because it's played such like a huge role in my life.
Mhm.
And like to even say the words the role of men and women is almost incendiary to me
Mm.
at this point, right? There's a lot of content on the internet right now
A lot.
that's trying to reaffirm men's manliness. Have you
Mm.
seen this or
I think
seen
I'm
any?
starting to see it.
It might not be in your algorithm.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Probably not yet.
right? It's crazy because there's this movement and it's so interesting to me. There's been so the I, sorry if I'm butchering like any of these phrases or terms, but like the feminist movement that came through was amazing for women in a very liberating kind of way. But at the same time, there was a sort of a not a counterculture, but a cousin culture to where I think that I felt this energy from certain women who have been very hurt
Mm.
by the man dominated culture, and
Mhm.
then they're like angry, right? Or they're getting out all their aggressions or their frustrations, and I felt like women talking about like men while I'm in the room in like a bad, like not a great way.
Mm.
And I've felt like, oh well, there's this energy between not all women, but like certain, there can be an energy where they're just like, yeah, fuck dudes, and and then like, you know what I mean? Like it's all about feminine energy now, and we need to like rise up and take our power, and we need to like do all this. So in a very roundabout way, like I said, I feel like this subject is very incendiary, so I'm just like trying to ease my way in. But I feel like today it's a lot of men are not confused per se, but like misdirected, especially when you have good intentions. So at the
Yeah.
beginning, we talked about how we're very good intention type of people, and sometimes can be accommodating and just be like, oh, well, no, it's just my way
Yeah.
to think of another person, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes first.
Mhm.
Um, but when you're like that too, you start to worry about these things. Like as a dude, a modern man who's like, so should I, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how, like, where does my respect is my respect. I respect women. I was raised by my mom. So I mean that off off jump, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I want to respect women. But how far do you take it? And like in a way, I feel like uh, I also feel like I've needed to play a role,
Mhm.
you know, just
Mhm.
to respect the movement and respect like people's feelings. But at the same time, I am who I am. Just like, what am I gonna do? It's very interesting for me.
It
Like, do you ever
is.
do you feel that? Like, do you feel any change socially? Like from maybe I guess when you were like able to notice this social stuff up until now, like how do you feel like this sort of like quote unquote feminist movement has affected you as a woman?
Um. Well, I don't know. Well, it's just a lot. There's a lot of groups in general. Meaning that I just feel like nowadays we are, at least I don't know, our generation is starting to unlearn things that we were learning as we grew up.
Yeah,
It's a lot of learning, unlearning, um, learning new things, um, because so many people identify different ways.
right.
You know, um, I'm all like, oh, the introvert, just like, oh, lots of energy. Ah,
Yeah,
it's
it is a lot.
a lot. But I feel like that getting to know people one on one
Uh huh.
makes it much easier,
Yeah,
you know. Um, and then rather thinking of, because it gets overwhelming if
yeah.
it is a group, but if you just get to know people
As
as
people,
people, then I guess it just makes it easier.
I really
Yeah.
agree. And so, actually, what you said really sparked something with me, where because you and I both have agreed that we're better one on one.
Yeah.
I'm a lot better one on one. And I think that in a group, it's maybe harder to just relate to people as people because I'm
Yeah.
so preoccupied with like all the all the signs coming through
Mhm.
and like
And then
processing that with
and
my
then like
brain.
how are we perceived by others?
Correct. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because it's important.
Yeah.
It's not like it definitely. I feel like when I perceive myself, like I can be stifled, and that's when you get your whole like, oh well, don't put yourself first and don't like people please and da 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 da, right?
Yeah.
But on the other side, it's like I really like having control over how people perceive me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Why I put lotion on my face? Why, you know what I mean? I wear what I wear and
Right.
act the way I act. And I think that there are certain magical people, like Jen, for example. I always bring her up every episode, but it's hard not to, right? Because of my love for this woman.
Yeah.
She's on my mind all the time. So, like Jen, I think is one of those people that just does.
Mm.
That's the impression I get from her,
Mhm.
is that she doesn't have to think twice about like how she's acting, what she's saying and stuff. I'm sure she does. Everyone has to a little bit, right? I
Mm.
imagine. But she's dope. She's like this force
She
of nature,
is.
and I have so much respect for her for just being that way.
Yes.
And I don't want to say the words I can't be that way because I don't believe in that, but
Mhm.
I think it's important for me being me to actually like process all this stuff.
Yes.
That's why she's her and I'm me, right? And for a long time, I think I made myself feel bad for paying attention so hard to all that stuff. But
Mm.
in a way, I feel like I learned that it's more of a survival mechanism, like early on,
Mhm.
where you're just like I was so again only child, and then I had to make friends by myself. My mom had to stay home and do piano lessons, and I was
Yeah.
kind of on my own for a while in certain situations, and I think that's what all this stuff came from.
Mhm.
Me paying attention to people. Like
Yeah.
it's when you're by yourself, it's very important that you're accepted,
Mm.
right? Like as a child, right?
Yeah.
Very important.
Yes.
You don't want to be an outcast as a child. It feels
Oh no.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, were you how was it for you?
um no, I could totally see that. Like with my siblings it's fine, like
Oh
whatever.
yeah, you guys are family.
Whatever. But yeah, like going to school or yeah, it's like, "Oh no, don't be the outcast. Don't be that kid," or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids like amplify that sort of tribal mentality,
Yes.
right? Because you're out there at school and there's people don't think about it this way, but there's a lot of instances where the children are unsupervised.
Yes.
They're just out there doing their thing. Like during recess, they're playing.
Oh yeah.
They're finding little their own private corner to
Mhm.
just like
Mhm.
play and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think that all these things that we develop like are so like deeply ingrained within us when we grow up that
Yes.
now like I'm just this type of person that's just gonna I it's like easy for me to tell when people are lying. Is it the same with you?
I like to think
You
that
like to think? Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
Like, how
I
are
could
we
tell.
gonna really know?
I
Yeah.
could tell, but no, I don't know.
It's stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's like super ingrained, like little facial expressions. And I've talked to actually in the past few months, I've actually met a lot of specifically dudes that and well, I don't know, maybe it's like 60-40,
Okay.
that have this same thing that I do, where you see micro expressions on people's faces
Mhm.
and they don't even know that they're making them.
Mm. Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's like a little glimpse into like their thought, but that's a dangerous road to go down because you don't really know what they're thinking. How
Yeah.
could you?
Yeah.
But then like humans make faces and they all mean certain things,
Oh yeah.
right? And especially if we're all part of the same culture, that face is going to be consistent.
Mhm.
And so for me, it's like a real telltale, you
Yeah.
know, that stuff is and it makes it difficult if
Mhm.
you're again coming from our culture of like wanting to make people comfortable and stuff
Yes.
and respect people's feelings and just want the best for people. It's hard not to then again in conjunction with the energy coming through from a group, and then like having, and then like parsing through all this information, this social information. Like, I know what that
Yeah.
means. I know what that means. I know what that means. Right? Even
Yeah.
if you don't mean that, that's who you are. It's kind of weird,
Yes.
you know. But yeah, I mean, again, one-on-one is great
Yeah.
because we don't have to deal with all so much. So, we also had BB, BB on the, yeah, let's go. It's hard not to love BB. We had BB on the pod too, and I asked her, hey, because she's like a big boss lady and she's also made
Yes.
like a name for herself.
Yes.
I asked her, well, do you have any tricks like while you're going doing your business, because her and I are kind of like we're on our grind, right? So I asked, like, do you have any tricks to kind of like help you stay centered when all this stuff is happening, the stuff that I've just been talking about, right? Do you have any sort of strategies or things that you do to help yourself center when you're not like centered?
Yes. I noticed that when coming back from big social gatherings, um, I do take a day of where I don't interact. Even not, I may check social media, but I'm not gonna quickly comment or whatever.
Yeah.
I I notice I don't respond to messages right away, or email or anything like that. I turn off the, yeah, and I'm all like doing like a mental like out of office message, like, sorry, I'm away.
Yeah.
Taking a minute to just recharge the batteries. Um, so I do take, yeah, I noticed I take like about 24 hours where I'm like, I'm not gonna respond to anything. I'm just gonna sit here.
I feel like
You
Jen
know?
has a very similar energy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. When she's tired, she turns completely off, and then
Mhm.
she goes from being like this to like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she kind of, yeah, but she doesn't really cut off communication. She just like becomes the couch.
Yeah.
um,
Yes, the couch form.
yes, the ultimate form. That's dope. Okay, so you actually, I find a lot of strength in what you're saying.
Mhm.
So what I'm hearing is you take your own time and you create a boundary for yourself
Yes.
that you don't allow others to cross.
Mhm.
And you allow yourself safety and to recharge. And I think that's really dope.
Mhm.
Not everybody does these things. I mean, like, everybody has their thing, I guess, that they do, but not everybody's very conscious of it.
Mhm.
It's like some people may go home and play video games,
Yeah.
and then but then instead they're just thinking like, oh, they just like really like video games, right?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, okay, I need to go home and play until I feel a little bit better, and then and then I can reemerge to society, right?
Mhm.
I think that's dope. And
Yeah.
and talking to you about that kind of makes me realize maybe I'm more extro than ambi. I don't know, maybe I'm just in that mood.
Mm.
But for me, like, I think it's very different. I think talking to people and getting like people's energy, like, especially if I talk to people like, for example, Chen and Chirito, or if I talk to like you or other people who are just like, like in a pretty like sunny mood, it really picks up my spirits.
Mhm.
Like, I think that's part of the reason why I'm still a teacher. So I drive down to South Bay predominantly. That's what most of my student base is in around San Jose, Palo Alto, Mountain View, all that stuff.
Okay. Mhm.
And I think that no matter what, when I teach, when I by the time I get home, I'm feeling better
Mm.
because I've talked to the kids,
Mhm.
because I've interacted with them, and like the kids are really like the hope.
Yeah.
Right? They give me hope
Yeah.
for society. They give me hope for humankind because they're just like so much less bigoted, like off the bat.
Mhm.
It's great.
Yes.
But so yeah, maybe you're helping me realize I'm more of an extrovert because the energy of people helps me recharge. But it's actually only one-on-one. So if it's like a huge crowd, I start feeling drained after a
Then
while.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yo, okay. That's so dope. Now, also hearing that you have that really powerful way of recharging yourself, it also kind of leads me to believe that you have felt very strongly about your own character and who you are for like some time now.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, at what point did you really attach to who you are now? You know what I mean? Because there's a period of time where you're like, oh, I want to be like this, I want to be like this, or like this is my role model, that's my role model, or like this is the type of person, and like, but it doesn't solidify
Oh no.
until a certain point. I mean, can I ask you about that? Do you remember when it around what time it kind of solidified?
I I don't think it has solidified.
Really?
Cuz I'm still constantly thinking like, oh, I love that person's energy. I want to be like that person
Mm-hmm.
or um yeah, just I'm still thinking like how can I be in my final form, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, absolutely. I have also been thinking about the same thing, right? I
Mhm.
was hoping that you would answer that instead of like, oh, because I feel that way too. I'm the type to always look up and up and up and up and up, right? Wherever
Yeah.
I am, I'll look up from there. And so then let me ask you then, who's your role model today?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, who do you find strength from
Um,
besides your parents?
besides
Because everyone,
besides
my mom,
them.
yeah, I would say my mom. You know what I mean? Like,
um, I have who I call my hype crew. Um, so they're my my support system.
amazing.
Um, so that's my close friends.
Yeah, shout them out.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
Hi,
you don't have to. I'm joking.
hi, Annalyn, Lauren. If you're there watching, hi, hype crew, Heather. Y'all know who you are.
That's so dope.
um, Adi, hi. Um, yeah, my support system. They each have something that I'm like, gosh, I love how this person listens, or I love how this person supports me, or
Yeah.
you know, just things like that.
Yeah.
You know,
People that you can actually spill your guts to.
yes. And it's like I am so thankful, and I hope that I can be that same person when they need me.
That's amazing.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can I ask like how y'all became friends? Like do you all know so you all know each other at this point
Mhm.
and then you're all one friend group?
Yes.
So then
Well, yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, how did the friend group come together? That's always an interesting story.
Oh, we just met recently. Like,
What?
yes.
That's so dope.
Well, I mean, Adi, we've known each other for decades.
Uh-huh.
Yay, my love, my boo. Hi. Um, so then, like with Heather, I've known her for years.
Uh-huh.
Through she was teaching at a fitness studio.
Mhm.
Um, so just going to her classes and then just getting to know her through there. Then Heather does retreats,
Mhm.
wellness retreats for women. Um,
Oh, that's
and
so dope.
yes, so I just came back from Costa Rica. She just had one last week. Um, and it was through her retreats that I met Annalyn and Lauren.
Oh.
Um, and from there, we noticed we had a common bond, and we were like besties since last year.
Wow. Through you telling me all this stuff, it gives me such a respect for you for like basically just like always following your truth.
Mm.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you've built a support system, you've built a life, you've built a place where you can be comfortable, go home and recharge yourself, come back to the world, all because you've stuck to your truth,
Mm.
you know? So let me ask you, if you could define part of, or at least some parts of what your truth is, right? And basically, I'm just asking you, like, what are some pillars that make up who you are? Okay, so because I know it's a big question.
Yeah.
I kind of asked Jen about this too, right? And so let's break it down to like three things that you could say are like kind of like pillars of yourself, and one of them for me is honesty, So it would be like honesty, love, and like friendship, right? Even though it's all like Hufflepuff stuff, but like, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Those things are really huge in my life, right? And so let me ask you, what are three things that are really huge in your life that you just like live by?
Wow. Yeah, I like okay, thinking.
And it doesn't have to be all deep or anything. Like,
No. Yeah. Um okay, definitely support.
yeah.
Um yeah, support, whether it's like words of encouragement, showing um like offering to help.
Mm-hmm.
Um that's important. Um
You've been the biggest supporter on my stream,
oh.
so you've been supporting me as well.
Support.
Yeah, yeah.
um yeah, yeah, I like love. Love is good.
That's cool. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
Love's cool.
I like love.
Yeah.
Um that's a cool thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh
Like and subscribe.
but it's also it's so broad and
You
unique,
love?
love. Yeah.
Yeah, it's both broad and unique, which
Yes.
is crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's throw that in there.
Okay, love.
Yeah.
That's a good one. It's part of my list.
Yeah.
It's a big part of my list.
No, I do like honesty too, cuz yeah, Lauren and Annalyn, yeah, they'll be honest, and I appreciate that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So,
I think you need people in your life that are going to like give you shit when you're not pushing yourself
mhm.
or when you're not sticking to your own morals or whatever.
Mhm.
People to shake you and be like, "Hey, hey, hey. This isn't you. Like what's going
Yeah.
on? Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's and you can only really achieve those friendships if you or relationships if you like trust, if you give
Mhm.
your trust and allow people in, right? And
Yeah.
I find that in my life it's difficult for me to trust,
Mhm.
even though I'm a very giving person and my heart is very open. It's hard for me to trust when I see signs that tell like red flags,
Same. Yeah.
right? And then combine that with this the so I guess we can call it like a social awareness, right?
Yeah.
It's tough,
Yeah.
right? Like people don't even know what they're saying sometimes when
Mhm.
they talk to you, you know.
Yeah.
And so for you to just that's another thing that I think Jen is my other half for, right? She's really my other half. Um, she she really trusts people and she wants to trust. She wants people to be their best, and I think she sees people for their best.
Mhm.
Um, and for me, I don't know, maybe now to like yin the yang, I'm the other way, or I'm like protecting us,
Yeah.
right? Instead, and just being like looking out and being like, hey, did you notice that person? Da da da.
Yeah.
Be careful,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
because they'll do it again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's my role. I
Yes.
mean, and I know. Do you guys operate in that way too? Do you guys like half each other?
Yes.
Yeah,
I believe we do.
that's
Yeah.
dope. It's good to have somebody who will have that other part.
Oh, yeah.
If you're both exactly the same, it's great too. I've like been with people that are just like me, and it can be tiring also,
Yeah.
because I have a
Yeah.
lot of energy. But yeah, that's amazing. I think I think the best part about having like you and other people in on this show is like really getting to really connect with you guys for real.
Yeah.
And it's weird, like I think if I were to just like sit down and talk to somebody one on one, it would be it would be a little different
Mhm.
because I wouldn't be sitting here just asking questions. But then sometimes it makes me feel like, oh, why don't you just do that? I could just do that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dang. Well, I would really love for you to shout anything out that's coming up for you, or anything out at all that you want to like have on the stream or tell people or anything like that.
um Sorry. I was for a moment there, I'm like, oh gosh, the spotlight's on me.
Oh,
Here we go. But no, thank you for the invitation to allow me to share. Yeah, so I make jewelry. I love making earrings and bracelets. Um, so yeah, I'm wearing some of the origami earrings that I
Ooh.
make. Um, so yes, upcoming shows. June June. Okay, I'm forgetting the dates. Like the first middle.
15th? Middle of the month? Second week?
Second and third Wednesday of June. So the second Wednesday, I'm in San Mateo, the San Mateo Rec Center, I believe. They're having like a summer kickoff party fair thing. So I'm so butchering that. I am so sorry.
No, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
But yeah, so we're having like a summer kickoff
Uh-huh.
event. I'll be vending there in San Mateo, and then June, the next weekend, the Father's Day weekend, Dam Oakland. I'll be there.
All right. All
Yeah.
right, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you have any questions for me? Like anything. You can ask
Oh.
me anything you want.
Oh, I didn't prepare.
That's okay.
But it's okay. I'll ask you in chat. Next time.
Yeah, you can ask me anytime you want, honestly. Again, honesty, right? I'll tell you for real.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty good place to break, and I just want to, Oh.
Sorry, we got the green light. Okay, so yes, and then the block party.
Oh, and the block party.
The block party,
yeah.
May 28th. Yeah?
Uh,
The 20
no, May.
last
Wait, I thought it was on the. Yeah, it is the 28th.
May.
It is the 28th.
Last Sunday of May.
Mm-hmm.
Last Sunday of May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be litty. We got the Bust Down Boys coming through, Jug, and I'm not sure if Thou was part of that, but like those guys, and Flex One perhaps, Alex. Party Market, yes, the Party Market.
Yay!
That's right. And it's gonna be a good time. It's our community, so like, how could it not be good?
Yes.
But yeah, I want to say thank you so much for coming out here and just sharing your energy with us and just like being vulnerable. It's not easy to answer a lot of these questions, but like, I don't know, I just had a feeling like it would be okay.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right.
Yay.
So let's rate out.